Well, I know this is not exactly going to come as a news flash to most of you, but air travel is a miracle. And as miracles go, it's approaching, in terms of the joys of the experience, another modern miracle, namely several hours of oral surgery. I was in Portland a few days ago. I had a tight connection from Spokane to LAX, got to the gate, discovered the flight was delayed about an hour. Actually, upon closer inspection, I realized the message read, "Next update in an hour." So when I asked what was happening, I was told that there was a 2-hour delay into LAX due to the sequester. LAX has laid off air traffic controllers due to budget cuts. Well, it ended up not only getting delayed for 2 hours, though, because a few minutes after that, we were told that this perfectly healthy airplane in this perfectly good weather would not be going into LAX at all. The flight was canceled. So, even though the FAA has more money this year, even with the sequester, than it did last year, the important thing is that the American people must be made to feel the wrath of a federal government that has largely gone on as usual, despite the sequester. It's just another chapter in Barack Obama and the Democratic Party's war on Americans. So joining me now to express solidarity with our oppressed Washington comrades against the scourge of the running dog American citizenry, our political officers Steve Green and Scott Ott. Guys, let's bring up this graph one more time. It's a terrific graph. Do we have it around? There it is. If you squint and lean very close to your monitors, look very, very, very carefully, you can see that there is, in fact, a barely detectable change between the blue line of increasing spending without the sequester and the red line of increasing spending with the sequester. So, Steve, since we have more money than last year, why did my flight get canceled?
You know what? I'm the father of a 2-year-old boy. For the second time, I now have a 2-year-old. And they throw temper tantrums. And when they throw a temper tantrum, they are going to try and make your life miserable until they get what they want. And what we have here is government by temper tantrum. They can't lose 2.3% of anything, or they are going to do everything in their power to make you miserable. Well, you know what? When my little boy throws a temper tantrum, I take something away. And I think this is how we need to think about the government. I would like to see the GOP Congress, the GOP House, propose a bill that every time this White House does something, the executive branch does something to inconvenience the American people in this way, that Congress puts forth a bill to privatize that function. You won't take tours of the White House? Fine. We're going to privatize that. It's out of the hands of the Secret Service, and it's in the hands of a private company. You're going to take away the air traffic controllers? Fine. We're going to privatize air traffic control in this country, and you're not going to have the power to throw that temper tantrum anymore. These are the proactive measures this GOP Congress should be taking right now in defense of Americans' conveniences and liberties, and we just have a cowardly and unimaginative Congress, unfortunately.
Cowardly and unimaginative, like the sound of that. You know, Scotty, you have been and continue to be the masters of the devil's advocate question here on your friendly neighborhood trifecta. Is there a reasonable explanation for things like furloughed, non-essential FAA personnel? That'd be the air traffic controllers. Other than my contention, which is that they're doing it intentionally to hurt the American people.
Well, I mean, obviously, Bill, you don't understand how government works. Government works on a series of very fine tolerances. Everything is really run kind of on the razor's edge of efficiency and effectiveness. And so if anything goes awry, then you wind up with not being able to land airplanes. And it's particularly ironic in this case, since my understanding is about most commercial airliners that have multiple engines, that even if you knocked out an engine or two, that airplane could still fly, could still successfully make a landing. But unfortunately, if a bunch of people get sick all at the same time who are on the LAX air traffic controller team, you just have to shut the place down. You just can't land airplanes. I do have a proposed solution for that I think, since the president has stepped forward and made the effort to cut his own pay by, 5% or something like that, in order to feel the pain. I think every flight of Air Force One and the First Lady's plane and a Marine One ought to be delayed by the cumulative delays that have been caused by these cutbacks, so that he can also feel that pain.
That's lovely. Yeah, why is that, by the way, that the air traffic controllers who got more money this year than last year, or at least the FAA gets more money, why can't they just reduce pay by 2.3% instead of laying everybody off? That's what you do at a McDonald's or something, right? You know, after what we saw with the events surrounding Sandy Hook and the massacre there, I'm prepared to say something I wasn't prepared to say before that orgy of emotional blackmail and low, venomous demagoguery. These anti-American politicians are endangering lives and inconveniencing people because if these modest cuts in the rate of growth aren't made to hurt, then people might start wondering what an actual budget cut might do. So they're intending to make it hurt. They're going to make it hurt. They will make it hurt. They've shown they're willing to do that. And so I wonder, these people who jumped on Sandy Hook before the smoke cleared in order to make their political hay while the sun shines, what else will they stoop to? Maybe a nice plane crash will do it. Now, I am emphatically not saying that they would cause a crash. I'm just saying, based on the experience of what we saw just a few months ago, they'd be on their knees praying in gratitude if there was one due to FAA cuts, maybe a nice plane full of people, or even better, 2 planes falling from the skies after a collision due to the draconian cuts in government spending. My God, it's Obama and Biden's chance to wipe away a tear and get that 2.3% back into the budget. A Democrat can dream, can't he? For PJTV, I'm Bill Woodall.